Recreation Committee meeting, June 12, 2007, is called to order. Ms. Sherafano, would you do the invitation?
I will. Father, we just thank you for this day, for this parish. We thank you for all our many blessings that you've bestowed upon us. We ask tonight that you would give us the wisdom that we need, the provisions that we need, and different ideas, Father God, to move this parish forward where recreation is concerned. We pray, Father God, as always, for our men and women that are abroad and around this country that are in harm's way, protecting our lives, Lord, and releasing, Father God, others to liberty that we have here. And Father God, we have some that we know that are leaving even now from Ascension Parish. We ask special blessings upon them and special angels to guard them and keep them safe and bring them home. Father, as always, we pray that you would secure our borders and our gates with your glory. And we ask all these things, as always, in Jesus' name. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I just want to let you know Mr. Doug Hillenbeck won't be here tonight because of work, and also is absent is Miss Pam Ellis. Okay, anybody that want to make any public comments on the public comments period, they can sign up, okay, or speak on any item. They will have 3 minutes, okay. Recreation, next item is recreation update. Director Cheryl Kinch.
Good evening. Excuse me. General maintenance and upkeep of parks. This month we were asked to assess the boat ramps in Ascension Parish, which ones we owned, which ones we leased, which ones we maintained. So we have been doing that. We are presently making improvements at the Oak Grove Community Center. The security lights, that has been requisitioned, and that is in technology right now. They everything in terms of equipment and technology has to go through technology. Security lights, again, thank you, Councilman Lambert. We met with Demco and assessed all of our ballparks first, and we will follow the recommendations that they gave us for each park. We have a Father's Day tournament at Butch Gore. We have the National Softball Association coming in for regionals the week after that at Butch Gore, and then AYSA will hold the regional tournament this year again at Butch Gore. We're about to wrap up our seasons. I think All-Star is practicing now. Their schedules are on their websites where their prospective games will be played. What I've given you in this packet is a new program that we will be beginning shortly. We will be meeting on Monday night, the 18th, at the Santa Ma Recreation Center. And I've just given you the PowerPoint presentation. Did you get one? Thank you. And what you will see there is just a very short PowerPoint of what they will do. They've decided to name their league the Ascension Parish Inclusive League, APIL. The two young ladies who have stepped up to the plate to pilot this program are Betsy Baldwin and Courtney Vicknair, who will both be teaching in our school system. And so they will have the opportunity to work with these children not only during the summer throughout the year in recreation, but also in the schools through the adaptive PE program. Just as a sideline here, Betsy Baldwin is going to graduate from Southeastern Louisiana University, and she represented the Lady Lions on their track team and has just come back from the NCAA finals where she placed 14th. Went in as 29th. So we're really happy and excited. I think one of the things that we need to continue doing is encouraging our youth to give back to the community. And these are two fine examples. But if you just flip through, you can kind of get an idea of some of the things that they're going to be doing. We would really like to have an active involvement of parents and legal guardians. We have located a grant that we will try to write for them. So we're really excited about having that on board. They're going to do t-ball, track, and they wanted to do swimming, but we don't have an aquatic facility. So we're going to try to change that and do something a little bit different. Let me make sure. I have a group of skateboarders here tonight, and they will talk to you when you get to that particular item. And I guess, do you want me to just wait so you can do number 5?
Yes.
Other than that, again, encourage any and all participation. We signed up 2 more officials today. Other than that, I would say, that it's the hottest part of the summer so far. We've had 2 days of 107 with the heat index. Players are hot, coaches are hot, workers are hot. So, having said that, that pretty much is the recreation report. And I didn't touch on the other things because you have them on the agenda.
Okay. All right. I'd like to go to 4A, and that's ABA, or Ascension Baseball Association, and the parks. I got a phone call from Mr. Bowlerline. I just seen him walked in, and he wanted to make a couple comments on ABA. And if you don't mind, Mr. Bowlerline, you can come up right now, and you'll have 3 minutes to speak on that. And ABA is an update of the committee and how we was working with the recreation director and ABA league on the baseball.
Thank you, Mr. Joseph. Catching my breath, I've been running. I was trying to get here in time. I think me and a lot of people associated with Ascension Baseball Association are beyond frustrated right now. Our season has ended. Practically all we got left is the all-star portion of our season, and we feel like virtually nothing has gotten done. Over the past three or so months, when we first brought this before the Recreation Committee and kind of brought it to the public, and that doesn't include the previous years of dealing with Park, trying to get some of this stuff done, we still have nothing. In the past 3 months, I've met with Parish President Ronnie Hughes. Several of us did, personally, on down to, I don't know everybody's position, Mr. Pierce, Mr. Katz, several of you, and it seems like here I am again at another meeting with hardly anything to say good, and that's sad that I can't say much good. Let's start with the baseball subcommittee approximately 1 month ago. Mr. Pierce tells me how we have to pay the money that we have to for the baseball fees, okay? We talk with Ms. Kinchin. She says take off the money for the fence that we paid for in March for Centermore Park, the $4,500. She says take that money off the registration fees and pay it. So we give her a check for that. A few days, a week later, whatever it is, she tells us she can't do that now. We need another check. So we're going to give us that check back, give us another check. We said, well, when are we going to get reimbursed for the fence? She says, I got that in. That's going to come out of another cost center, whatever the proper term is. So we said, no, we're leery. We're going to get stuck for the fence. We didn't want to pay it until we got the reimbursement, and then we'll pay. Understand, we've given them an $18,000 check, okay? $22,000 would be the total. $4,000 was taken off because of the fence. So we held up on that. We were supposed to have some immediate things done as well. The only thing that I know of that was done correctly and well was the park attendant. During the week games, there was a park attendant there, okay, to help maintain order and keep things clean. So that part was done. There were many simple things, in our opinion, that I guess that's my 3 minutes.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. All right. There were many simple things that at that meeting that Mr. Katz was at, Mr. Pierce said we'd get done. Everything from fixing the lights to simple new batting racks to covering the batting cages, fixing the batting cages, on and on. Okay, and again, the only thing I know of that was done properly and done well of all those items was the park attendant was there. Every time we ask and we talk about Stevens Park and what we need, Ms. Kinchin always brings up, well, if we're going to do it for Stevens Park, we got to do it for all of them. Okay? Obviously, we're here as ABA talking about Stevens Park and Santa Maria Park. That's the parks we deal with, okay? I don't know, I'm not that familiar with the rest of the parks to say that. But if the rest of the parks need what Stevens Park needs, then the whole system is in disarray. Because that's pitiful if all those parks need everything Stevens Parks need. That just means neglect, years of neglect, in my opinion. We had to pay for 300 plus games of umpires this season out of our concession money. Again, we don't have a problem with that. We don't have a problem with finding umpires and paying them. We just don't want to pay the full fee to park, which is supposed to cover umpires. That's our big contention right there. I really think that my personal opinion first is that somebody needs to step up in our parish council. Somebody somewhere needs to step up and say, hey, these guys need to be fixed. I'll give Mr. Hillensbeck a lot of credit. He tried to get $40,000 for us to fix it. Now, whether there's money in the budget that can be redirected and all that stuff, that all sounds real good. Well, nothing got redirected, nothing got done. Okay? So that's why we're really frustrated now. We've gone through the whole season. We've gone through this year after year of trying to get these things accomplished, and we just feel like all we do is get slapped down time and time again. Every time I meet with everybody from council members to all the way to the parish president, everybody smiles, shake hands. When we come out of the meeting, we feel like finally somebody's going to listen and do something for us. And then once again, we have nothing. So the last thing I want to mention is the concession money. I asked for reimbursement of the concession money last meeting. We paid concession money the last 2 years. We haven't paid any this year. And we feel like that money should be sent back to us. And if we're forced to pay it, we want to see that in an ordinance or in some sort of law-abiding document that says we have to pay that money, because we can't find it. We don't see it. And we paid it, and we want to see it and before we pay it again. And we still feel like we should be reimbursed for it, that money should not be cut, our concession money should not be forced 10% of it to the parish. So I'm sorry for my tone of voice, and I'm sorry for my kind of harsh attitude. I really just want to get a point the frustration that me and many of the volunteers with Ascension Baseball feel right now.
All right, Ms. Boyle. Appreciate your comments. And Cheryl, you.
Byron, don't leave just yet, please. I have a question.
No. Get back to
I wasn't going to tackle this first, but since you're leaving the podium, I will.
Okay.
You said that the only thing right was the park attendant. I've gotten rumors, and that's all it is rumors, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm asking you that maybe you can clarify it. I was told that park attendants were sent out there, but that all they did was sit around, and that they were told to do that. Do you know anything about that?
I don't know anything about that. I saw a park attendant out there, so I was happy that got done. So I didn't follow the park attendant around. I don't know what he or she did or didn't do. I couldn't tell you anything positive or negative because I don't know.
All right.
I was busy coaching.
I'm just asking that because this is some of the things that I'm hearing, off the streets too, and I'm asking you since you're out there.
Well, some parents complained to me that said the park attendant wasn't doing anything, but again, I didn't see anything because when I'm there, I'm usually coaching a team and fooling with my boys and that type of thing. So I'm not paying attention to that. So some parents did make mention of that to me, but I didn't even bring it up because it was just a few parents that said it's some hearsay, so that's why I didn't even bring it up.
Well, Byron, I apologize that this subcommittee meeting did not get broadcast on TV. I don't know why we met in a back room. Mr. Joseph here left to go on a trip and tasked me to give the subcommittee report. He asked me twice. I spent 45 minutes of my time getting a report together and was not allowed to give it at the council because administration called and said we're not to give the report because Mr. Joseph was out of town and he had said not to. Okay. So there was a conflict there. That's why it didn't get done. But I'd like to give a little bit of a report right now for that. We did meet. We had the CFO. We had the CAO. We had the director. We had Mr. Bordelon. We had I think Roy Katz was in there also, Oliver Joseph, myself, and Pam Ellis, who is the board member from the citizenry there. Well, we came to the conclusion after that they were directed. The direction from there was that you're to go fix the short-term items. We all knew that $40,000 Mr. Hillenspec wanted to put toward it was not going to help you. You can give money. If you already got money and you're not getting the service, more money is not going to get you the service.
I understand what you're saying. Absolutely.
And the process is long for that. We knew that there was money that they could get these short-term things done, and then if they need more money, they can always come to the council and do the proper adjustment and amendment that they needed to make. We also determined at that time part of the short-term things was to make sure that the bathrooms were stocked with toilet paper and try to get the scoreboards working, things that they could do that, and grass cutting and the gator, that was a particular thing at that time, the gator that you cut with. Those things that we knew that they could get done, we directed them to do. The long-term projects, we decided the season was midterm, wasn't going to get done, that we needed to get those projects identified and put in the 208 budget. We also asked at that meeting that we would get together, Park, ABA, and the committee, and I'm talking about the subcommittee members, would put together a cooperative endeavor agreement due to this committee in August so that we could get it passed at the council level so that we could be prepared for baseball in February of next year. That everybody, Park, the council, and Recreation Department would know what their roles were, what they were responsible to, and that it would be in black and white. And because we do the same kind of things with Donaldsonville, and we thought that this would help, bring some peace. We also said we needed to take a look, to see about this this extra money going in and making sure that we had more than $12,000 applied in our budget. We went over the fact that the budget with $1.253 million compared to 04, which was $950,000, and had $39,500 allocated to baseball, that with this much money we only had $12,000, which obviously wasn't enough, and obviously you bringing in more than that from your children, and yet the services are not being done. We discussed that we would look into that during these months between July and August so that we could get something done. This is the report that did not get done, and I apologize. It was no fault of some of us over here. We have done everything that we can as the council to direct administration to see to it that your needs were met. Everything that we possibly could. We've been outspoken. We've done it in the public. We're the council. We don't run administration.
Right.
And so I don't know what exactly needs to be done to solve these problems, but perhaps if we can get this corporate endeavor agreement, if we can work real hard, this season's gone. You'll
gone,
admit
right.
that it's gone.
Absolutely.
There's nothing we can do to undo it. But what we need to do is work really hard so that we're prepared to do what we need to do from the council standpoint to put in place an agreement between all parties, and to make sure that come February, that park is starting to be readied in February, that come March the 1st, when you decide to practice, everything's done. And there needs to be a checklist. You know, put in that corporate endeavor agreement, there should be a checklist that we can go back and check to see whether this is done or it hasn't been done, that we know well in advance. Other than that, sir, I don't know what else as this body that we can do. We've done it all.
Well, then you know how frustrated. So you know how frustrated I am,
yes, sir.
because it seems like all we do is meet and talk.
Yes, sir, I agree.
Miss Johnny.
I just got a couple of questions.
Yes, ma'am.
And please forgive my ignorance. Who is Mr. Roy Katz? What does Mr. Katz do?
Personnel.
He's personnel?
Yeah, human resource.
HR, okay. So who exactly committed to doing the short-term items?
Mr. Pierce.
Everybody in the room.
The subcommittee agreed to those
Okay,
terms.
but
Mr. Pierce.
Mr. Pierce.
I don't know his first name, and I don't know his position.
Thomas Pierce.
Thomas
He is the CL. He is the
UCL.
And he has the authority to commit for the administration that the stuff will be done.
he's second in charge.
And what did he commit? Do we have a short list of what he agreed to be done?
We did, and those things were rakes, fixing those items that he was talking about.
It's about 10 little
Small
simple
items.
items.
Were the 10 little simple items done?
No, the only one I know of that was done correctly and completely is the
Personnel.
park attendant.
Okay, so the parish did commit to perform some actions,
Correct.
and they fell through and didn't do it.
Correct.
Okay, another question for you. I just want to make sure I understand this correctly. ABA paid for umpires. Is that correct?
Over 300 games we paid umpires out of our concession money.
Okay.
Yes.
Did we have umpires at 300 games? Do we know? I'm trying to get at, did you pay for something you didn't
Yeah,
get?
we only paid for umpires who were at games. Yes.
Okay, so you didn't
Now-
pay any money for someone that didn't show up?
No, we didn't
Okay.
pay any money to someone who didn't show up. No.
Okay, that's what I'd like to know.
But understand, these umpires are people we got, not park employees, which is with the $25 registration fee part of us supposed to pay for as umpires. These are umpires we got and paid for, and actually took the burden off of park for the 7 and 8-year-old fields. Told them they didn't have to worry about getting umpires for that fields because they couldn't staff it anyway. We said we'll pay for them out of our concession money. And then it's gotten to the point where we were taking the 7 and 8-year-old umpires who we had, moving them to the 9-year-old field because there was no umpires, and paying them for that. We paid for over 300 games of umpires that ABA paid for out of our concession money, which again, why we feel we should be reimbursed for the umpire fees, and we should be reimbursed for all of our concession money that we've given over the last 2 years.
Okay, so the parish took money out of the fees to pay for umpires.
That's what the $25 per child, that's part of what it's supposed to pay for,
Did
yes.
they provide any umpires? for
Yes, they
ABA?
did provide some umpires, yes. So I don't know how many total games we have. Maybe I don't even know the total number of games. But some games will umpire with some games would play without umpires. That whether parents or coaches or somebody we pulled out of the stands had to umpire. Some games had official park umpires, and some games had umpires that we as ABA got.
Mr. Bordelon, are you?
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I have
Ms.
another
Chairman.
question that I need to ask him. The Gator.
Yes,
There
ma'am.
was some heavy discussion in the subcommittee meeting about the Gator.
Okay.
And the fact that it wasn't fixed, and we were assured that it was fixed, but then we kind of got the message from everybody in the room, including the park director, was that the Gator was fixed, and then they'd bring it back out, and it was constantly in and out of the shop.
I think-
so Mr. Pierce committed to a new Gator. Did you get it?
Yes, he did. Absolutely, he did. But
Did you get it?
Let me explain to you. No, ma'am. I think there's some confusion between the Gator and the infield machine. Okay, there's two pieces of equipment. Okay, the gator and an infield machine. Okay, the one that's always in and out of the shop is the infield machine. Okay, that's the one that's always in. The gator hasn't been fixed. You can go drive the gator right now. You can't even turn it. Okay, the steering hasn't been fixed on that thing almost since the beginning. Okay, the infield machine we had a brake problem on was the biggest problem. Now, there's several little minor problems again. So what? Okay, get the big problem fixed. Okay, the brakes are somewhat better on the infield machine now. Okay, but why do, with 5 ballparks to maintain night after night, do we have to have an old infield machine when there's new infield machines that we can have? That's what I don't understand. And Mr. Pierce did commit at that meeting that we would have a new infield machine. Now, whether it was going to happen this season or next season, but he said we would get one. Okay.
It was my understanding and impression that it would be done immediately.
Mr. Lamb.
Mr. Borderline,
yes, sir.
infield machines. I know I wasn't at the last rec meeting, but I watched it on TV.
Yes, sir.
And I think Ms. Kitchen said that they wasn't letting y'all have the new machines. They had some new machines just to parish workers. When is the infield worked?
The infield's work before the start of every game. Before the start of every game.
Every game.
We try to work it. Yes.
I wasn't sure if they just did it that morning for the evening games.
Well, no. If in an ideal world, which again what we pay for, park officials should be doing that. But as Ms. Kenshin has said, the people are there don't know. They don't know how to properly maintain the grounds. They don't have the training for it. So some of our guys try to get there. We've had 5 or 6 guys associated with Ascension baseball who have tried to get there an hour or so before the games to try and work some of the fields as best they could before each night's games. And to my knowledge, in the 4 years that I've been out there, and they tell me years before, I don't know of any park officials who go out there and work the infields and work the fields to make them better. It's always Ascension baseball and our volunteers who are doing it. Yes.
Because I guess I'm just comparing, you know, I went to school with the guy that ran the one for the city, and I talked to him recently, and he's opened his, you know, if you need his advice, Mr. Donnie Gotro said he would be glad to come talk to you, and that he had 4 or 5 guys working. He worked all the parks. They were ready to play ball when you got there. You didn't have to, a volunteer didn't have to touch them, you know.
But Councilman Lambert, we have an ABA person who's who's experienced with this, who worked recreation, and he knows what to do. And he said if we had 2 or 3 part-time people during the season, we could have those fields beautiful and immaculate.
And coaching, we could coach instead of having to worry about the fields.
Right, exactly.
And that's what we need to gear, you know, towards.
Ms. Sheriff Fontenot.
I just wanted to just make one comment that the fields and the way the fields are manicured are very important to the safety of the children. I had boys that played ball, and you know, it's not, you just don't put them out in the cow pasture and let them play ball. There's reasons why certain things are done, and it's for the safety. You know, they don't need to run and trip in a hold or stumble on a piece of dirt or something like that. Everything out there is important, the way that it's done, and so it is of most importance that we do solve this problem where the fields are concerned.
And the lighting should be part and parcel of that.
Equally so, yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am, because the lighting at those fields, if you go to our fields, some of y'all have been out there, we got, on the 10-year-old field, we got 2 outfield poles. They got 2 lights on them. 2 of the lights aren't even pointed at the field. One's pointing straight out, so the left field is virtually dark. The 8-year-old field has lights that haven't been redirected. On and on. It's the stuff we've talked about time and time again.
Mr. Borderline, the ABA, look, I can say we have worked with the administration, we have worked with y'all, and we realize this season is over with.
Right.
Okay?
Sure.
That's the bottom line. Now, whose fault it is? Hey, this committee here can take that fault. But what we could commit to ABA and the citizen of Ascension Parish, that this plan that we're going to work with ABA next year with an intergovernmental agreement that is outlined in black and white, so we know who's responsible for what. Currently, right now, we don't, you know, we pointing fingers,
Right.
But like you say, what's in black and white? We had directed administration to do something. Unfortunately, all those things was not met. But we can commit to ABA and the citizen that this committee here will make sure that these rules that we set up in the government agreement for next year, and ABA will be involved in writing those that in the government agreement. You know, and that's the commitment this committee can make to the ABA.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that sincerely, and I hope that we can work together through this summer and through the fall to get this done and get it done right, because I think it's important for our parish. I mean, we playing our all-star. We just got our all-star teams together. So what do they say? Ascension All-Stars. We're proud of our parish and like to talk about it, but when we're not getting the response, I don't want to say the representation, we're not getting the response from our elected officials that we would like to see, we get very frustrated. And I guess that's where we are right now. And that's why, after meeting with Parish President Hughes, everybody on down, face to face, and still nothing has gotten done, I'm throwing my hands up. I don't know what to do.
Okay, well, don't throw them up like that. So
and
Sheriff Fontenot.
If you don't mind, Mr. Keith Simpson, the ABA Stevens Park Director, he would like to say a couple of words. Again, we got here at the same time. We were both running late. I apologize.
Ms. Cheryl.
Well, I don't want to get on your bad side, Mr. Joseph, but I'm not taking responsibility for this. I have done everything above and beyond to try to get this situation solved, and I'm not taking responsibility. And I'm not going to make false promises, because I've tried and we've directed and we didn't get anything done. So how can we sit up here and say we're going to get something done and make promises when they don't get done? We can't go out there and do that. That's not our jobs. Our job is to direct. We can't manage employees or do anything like that, or do anything with the equipment, anything. All we can do is direct. That's all we can do. And we have said that we would work on a corporate endeavor agreement, and what we need to do, and what I'll make a motion to do right now, is to give the task to the park director to set the meetings up to get this endeavor agreement together, to make sure that all parties are invited and notified, and that we have a working meeting to get this done. If you don't set a meeting, it'll never come to pass. And I make that motion that a meeting be set to work on this corporate endeavor agreement, and that it needs to be done soon, because we need to have this to the council by August.
Motion is on the floor by Ms. Sheriff Fontenot, second by both Mr. Lambert. All in favor on the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Motion passed.
Got one more question, Mr. Boardman.
Mr. Tyler.
Might be to Ms. Kinchin. The 300 games that was not umpired, you had to pay for.
Yes, sir.
What are y'all paying umpires? $20 a game, or so that was about $6,000 or
something about, yes. I don't know exactly. I'd have to ask the president what we pay.
I guess Ms. Kinchin, is this to get reimbursed to them since they paid for?
Excuse me. Generally, last year when we had the a contract with AYSA, it was a contract that stated we would reimburse them. So without a contract, I don't know. That would be a question you would have to ask finance. I wouldn't be able to tell you that.
Could you find out that for me?
I certainly will. I will also
Make the motion to pay it.
Yeah. I'll go ahead and make that motion that we reimburse them if they
And I'll
have,
second it.
y'all have paperwork and receipts on.
Yes, sir.
Make that motion that we reimburse boys baseball for them.
May I make a request there? One of the things that we do when we hire our officials is we do background checks. So if it would be okay, could I have a listing of all those people that umpired so that we may do a background check on them also?
Has nothing to do with it, Ms. Kinchin.
No, I know, but when we
Has
put
nothing
people
to
in
do
the
with it.
parks, we do that as a safety, and we did have a coach this year who was arrested from our T-ball league. So
Nothing
we like
do
to.
with it.
The motion is on the floor right now to
To
reimburse.
finance. This needs to go to finance.
Reimburse, but based pending finance and legal. I will put that on
And
that
in
motion.
finance and legal, and also the $4,000 for the fence, if we need to make that motion and that call.
That's already been requisitioned.
Okay.
Well,
Excuse
we can still solidify
Excuse
that
me.
from this
All
board.
right. Motion is on the floor to reimburse ABA for Empire $6,000 and
whatever they pay,
whatever the cost is, and $4,500 for the fencing at Santa Monica Park, based on legal and finance. Umpire. All right. Any objection to the motion? Motion passed. Okay.
Don't forget Mr. Simpson.
I think we done. He didn't sign up. He didn't sign up. Mr. Bowline called up earlier on that. Moving to item number 5. And that'll be baseball equipment missing or unreturned items. And for recreation, Miss Cheryl Kinchin had made a statement a couple months ago regarding about $10,000 worth of baseball equipment was not returned, and I wanted an update on that to see where we stood with that, Ms. Cheryl.
We've been getting equipment back from this year, and I've gotten 5 bags back from last year, but we are still, with softball and baseball, we are still missing a lot of equipment from last year.
Okay. Ms. Cheryl, my next question is, on that, I talked to finance on that, and we do not ask for a deposit on those equipment. We do
No,
not
sir.
get a copy of a driver license.
No, we fill out a form and we get their signature and their pledge that they will bring it back.
A pledge. Oh,
I mean, a legal signature that, and you know, when they take it, we tell them that belongs to Ascension Parish. If you want to start charging a deposit, that's something that has to come through the legislative branch. I can't charge a fee. That's not.
Ms. Cheryl.
I think that's one of the things that we talked about working out in the corporate endeavor agreement, that maybe the baseball league itself would handle the equipment. You know, I mean, those are things that we haven't worked out yet, but those are some of the things that we can do. But I do want to say this. I made the special finance meeting with the auditors in the chairman's place a couple of weeks ago, and one of the things that the auditors recommended that we start having a complete inventory of all things like computers and tables and chairs and whatever, and I know that we don't have that in recreation. Well, obviously we don't have a good inventory list if we've got stuff missing because we haven't documented who has it and how to get in touch with them and whatever.
I have that documentation. I know how to get in touch with them. Some of those coaches have been called 3 and 4 times over the last 2 years.
Well, then we need a system in place that we can make people accountable. Maybe that's what I need to say. And I mean, that's what the auditors brought up to us, and that's something that we need to look into. In fact, that's something that administration needs to look into, not us.
Well, and Cheryl, that's why we're bringing this up, to make sure that is implemented into this system right now, because we can't account for a lot of gear. When you come up here and ask for, say that you have $10,000 worth of missing equipment, and you can't get it back, I think that system needs to be tweaked to bring up to date, and whatever it takes to bring it up to date.
It may take an assessment of a fee, but I can't impose a fee without your approval. I mean, that's something that the council does. I don't have the power to assess a fee.
And
that's just the kind of documentation that you need to bring to us, get it on the agenda, and bring it to a committee. And this is obviously the committee for recreation. So we can't do anything without you. You participating and bringing us the documentation that we need to pass. So if you do that, we can do that.
Oh, wait, you lost me there for a moment. You confused me. You need me to bring you the documentation for you to pass?
Well, you would establish that, what you want to establish as far as
guidelines for the legislation.
That's right. And then we will look over it. If it's good, we pass it, and it goes in the law.
Okay. Would it be inappropriate for me at this point just to make a couple of comments, just so you know I have documentation regarding some of the things that with baseball? You know, if you want to see what we did with lights, if you want to see what we did with reimbursement, all those things are documented and in the system. Okay, so recreation, missing or unreturned equipment. B, Special Tuesday, I don't know about that, so I can't answer.
is I have Ms. Goppel that wanted to be on the agenda for that, and she, Ms. Goppel, if you want to come to the front on that.
Thank you, Chairman Joseph, for being so gracious to allow me to speak. We did discuss that you'd give me more than 3 minutes, and I hope that you'll follow through with that. On April 19th, the Council approved a cooperative endeavor agreement with Ms. Bobby Blanchard, who directs the Special Tuesday program for special needs of individuals in our community. The parish agreed to provide a place for the program to continue operating, and the Ascension Civic Center in Sorrento has been and is now the facility being used for this Special Tuesday program. It's going on right now. It'll be closing shortly. Those who use and rent facilities are usually given a key. The Recreation Department refused to give Ms. Blanchard a key, and in lieu of this, they promised to keep the center open every day from 6:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. This lasted 1 day. When the school board cooks came last week to get their leftover equipment at 8 a.m. in the morning, they could not get in to get the food. This arrangement is just not working. Why is Ms. Blanchard being treated differently than others? We did inventory prior to the program's beginning, and the volleyball net was missing from the Special Tuesday storage room. There's a room that's locked especially for Special Tuesday equipment. And there were also several tables and chairs from the Civic Center itself, which we'd used in the past for the program, that were not there. I spoke with the recreation supervisor. Well, actually, no, I didn't speak with him. Someone else spoke with him from the program, and he said that the volleyball net was taken by parish employees from the storage room for Ronnie Hughes' Family Day at Lamar Dixon. They could not, we could just forget about getting this volleyball net back. To add insult to injury, this net was donated by an individual for Special Tuesday, and it did not belong to the parish, and it did not belong to Mr. Hughes. Is the parish now in the business of using parish employees to confiscate property out of public facilities? Sure seems so to me. At one time, there were about 30 white fiberglass tables available to use at the center. These are used for setting up street hockey. After the cooperative endeavor agreement was made, some of these came up missing. I personally asked the recreation supervisor where the tables were. He said, things just walk off. When I asked what would be done, he said, well, all the missing equipment will be replaced at the end of the year. We'll buy new equipment. But that's too late for Special Tuesday. This statement was an insult, or is an insult, to the hard-working, tax-paying citizens who paid for this equipment in the first place. And now we're being asked to foot the bill to replace lost and missing equipment. This irresponsible attitude is really unacceptable. When I asked how it was possible for the parish to have not have an inventory and just replace missing equipment by buying it, the reply was, well, the council is going to go knock on doors every so often, and didn't finish the sentence. In my mind, I'm thinking, does this mean the council is using parish equipment to bribe citizens? This insinuation should be an insult to you, council members. When Special Tuesday began on June 5th, there were only 2 of the almost 30 tables on site, one in the kitchen that parish employees use to eat lunch at noon, and one that's broken. Ms. Blanchard had no other option than to buy tables that she needed for Special Tuesday. These will now be kept under lock and key and are marked, so they will not be walking off like the other tables. Just before the meeting tonight, Ms. Kitchen stepped up to me and gave me a list of inventory. Supposedly, according to her inventory, we only have 20 tables at the Ascension Civic Center. I question that inventory. We've been told for the last 3.5 years by the Hughes administration that this government would be run like a business. If I rent equipment from a business, I must put down a deposit or some kind of security. If I don't return the property in the condition it was rented, I forfeit my deposit, which can be used to replace what was broken or not returned. Let us put a process in place to require those who rent equipment to be accountable to return it promptly and in good condition, and those on the parish end to see that the equipment is accounted for and returned in good order. If not, those who borrow the equipment, whether parish employees or the public, should take responsibility to replace the equipment, pay for it. This entire situation shows the irresponsibility, the unprofessionalism, and the wastefulness of the Hughes administration. This is not the way to run a business. put some safeguards in place. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gum. Ms. Kinchin.
I feel like I need to clarify a couple of inaccuracies with that. First of all, Ronnie Hughes has never asked anybody at any time to go over to any center and do anything for Employee Appreciation Day. The volleyball net was used and it was returned. It was there last year for Special Tuesday. Ms. Blanchard has never had a key to the Ascension Civic Center. It has always been open for her. Last week we had 2 mandatory meetings, one for a policy manual and one for a training that lasted all day. That center was opened this morning. The program went on. Mr. Pierce was there. He directed me to inventory tables and chairs. Ronnie Hughes never, ever asks us to go and take anything from a center. And it was not for a Ronnie Hughes family picnic day. It was Employee Appreciation Day. Second of all, there are 20 tables over there. When we were there this morning, there were tables and chairs still stacked up that had not been used. It is true, Ms. Blanchard bought 20 tables. They are in her room. She is the only person with the key to that room. Lyle Scheck-Snyder doesn't have a key, Ms. Kinchin doesn't have a key, and Gerald Williams returned his key. I would also like to note that one of our workers was asked to make a key and give it to Ms. Blanchard, that nobody needed to know about that. That was a very honest person who came to his supervisor and who came to me. We do not make keys and give them out. We've had council who've asked for keys for buildings. We do not give out keys to buildings. That program's been going on for 13 years and it's always been opened, and she has never had a key to the Ascension Civic Center. Tables and chairs. I have a purchase order here dated 11/17/04. That was the last time the parish bought tables. And if you look on your paper, you're going to see that we ordered 88 packs of folding chairs, 4 round tables, and we ordered 40 banquet tables. To my knowledge, we haven't lost that many. We have 106 total tables in our 5 community centers.
Ms. Sharon, we don't have that portion of your package. Not what she ordered.
This is what she's being handed.
This is the accounting of what we have inventory-wise. And as directed, we had been keeping track, but we did not ask people to come in and sign. That has since been changed under the direction of Mr. Mr. Thomas Pierce, excuse me. And we will also now require 2 signatures and phone numbers. I have not ordered the first table or chair in my 2.5-year tenure here. The last time we ordered tables was November 17th of '04. That was during the Bill Evans administration. So I think we're doing a pretty good job. Tables and chairs do go whenever you loan them out. The only way you're going to stop that process is to stop loaning out tables and chairs. And I will tell you that that, to me, would be, I don't think that's a good thing. We loan them out for senior citizens. We loan them out to the Memorial Day program, to the veterans. We loan them out to senior citizens today on the river. We take them all over the parish. If you want to implement a policy, that's fine with this. But if you stop doing that, I just think that's one of the things that we should be doing, is good PR and tables and chairs. Now that we're talking about it on television, I'm sure I'm going to get lots more requests. Most of the requests for tables and chairs come from people who have workings with government and who know those chairs are there. I don't think the general public, but that may change. With regard to Special Tuesday, we don't give out keys to individuals. Other than that, I know the program is up and running. Last week they had 125 people, and I don't know what the count was. That was participants, volunteers, and caretakers.
All right, Miss. Nope. Okay. Thank you on that. Anyone? No. Moving along. Changing of Lemon Stewart Park to Lemonville Stewart and Madison Park. And that was based on a request of Mr. Councilman Kent Shakespeare. And we have
Make that
spoken.
motion then.
Second.
We accept that.
All right. Motion to accept the new name of Lemonville, Stewart, and Madison Park. Any objection? No objection. So passed. Item number 7 is the skate park update. And Ms. Cheryl Kent.
With regard to the skate park, we really are just trying to find out where we are. I know that the last time we met, we had spoken with the school board, and Councilman Valentine was talking with them. Oh, it's right there. So we're really just trying to find out where we are. The last time we spoke, we were going to move the site further back at Reynolds Lambert, but I do have some people here who would like to talk about a skate park. But before I ask them up, I would just like to tell you that BMX biking and skateboarding are exploding across the planet, not just in the United States. This kind of popularity has resulted in many cities building municipal and multiple skate parks to keep up with the demand, which has even spread to an older generation. Santa Monica, California calls its concrete skateboard bowl the Senior Citizens Program because so many of the regular users are over 40 years old and many are well into their 50s. So it is not just a sport, it is a very inexpensive sport, and in the latest issue of the National Parks and Recreation Association, which is kind of the Bible for Parks and Recreation, they are now finding through skate parks that we are able to combat at-risk youth. I say again, skateboarding and BMX biking should not be illegal, and we should provide them a safe place to do it. Recreation is many things to many people. We should try to facilitate the need for a skate plaza.
I would like to have Councilman Mr. Valentine come to the mic to dress up. Councilman Valentine, just about the land, can you give us an update where the last time we was on that land with the school board?
Well, as far as I know yet, they haven't come up with any type of agreement. We haven't with the school board. I think the discussion we had, and I did speak with Attorney Jeff Diaz for the school board about that, and he hasn't seen anything in concrete yet. But the school board members and the superintendent didn't have a problem with us using that facility next to the Ascension Recreation Center because of the closeness of restroom facilities and what have you, and that would cut down on the expense for the skate park. There were some liability issues that were talked about, but then again, the school board does have liability insurance, and I'm sure we would have to also purchase something along that line. But I will promise you this: I will get something from the school board President Ed Price within the week, and I'll have an update for you on that.
Okay. All right. Well, Jeff Diaz worked for both parties.
Yes, he does.
And so he can draft up something.
Yes, he can.
All right.
Okay. I think it was, we have to set the boundaries and exactly what we would do and have naturally a cooperative agreement so that we could all agree on.
Okay. My next question was funding on this, Ms. Cheryl. I mean, we just need to keep the public up to date on the funding aspect of this park.
Yeah, I think if it's something that we're seriously going to consider, and I think we should consider it, considering that in recreation we offer t-ball, baseball, softball, and basketball. We're looking at least $350,000. There are some grants out there. The Tony Hawks Foundation has a grant that we could qualify for. We can use the lease agreement with the school board as our portion of an in-kind match, so that works out really well. But it's been a year, and we just really wanted to see where we were with that, and I wanted you to, again, meet some of the skateboarders that are out there and tell you that they're skateboarding on Highway 42 and Highway 44, and there are no sidewalks. There are very few in the parish. They are still using Veterans Park. They are still using parking lots. They are still using your courthouse steps. They are using anywhere and everywhere to skate. And the one thing that we continue to do in this country is legislate against that. It should not be illegal to participate in a recreation sport. When you have that many people being arrested and fined, we need to find a place for them that's safe. And so I would like for you to hear from some of these young skateboarders who are passionate about what they do.
I have two gentlemen, but Ms. Cheryl Fontenot have a question for you.
Well, Sherry, you just mentioned grants, and I just wanted to ask you, you said that you located a grant for this other little league.
Yes.
Would you please send me a copy of it? I would like to see it if you can.
That would be fine. I have the ARC out of Baton Rouge who saw our article in the paper and called and asked us if they could write a grant for us and help us with funding. So as soon as I'm meeting with them Friday, one of the ladies is in Hammond, I will get that to you as soon as she gets that to me, as well as the skateboarding grant.
And the only other thing that I wanted to say to you is that I know the need out there for other recreation, because I know a lot of kids can't do this stuff. But we do have recreation for some right now.
I agree.
And we need to make sure, so please, I'm pleading with you to make sure that there's enough money in the budget this year to cover that.
To cover a skate park?
No.
Oh,
to cover,
yes, ma'am. I've moved money as I told you that I would move
money. And I'm
money.
talking about basketball, baseball, you know, whatever we're already doing, let's make sure that we have enough to fund it and maintain it.
Okay, with basketball, just kind of FYI, that's going to be the next thing we register for. We need to be very diligent with the school board. Mr. Sanji communicated with us last year about the vandalism at some of the schools, and we were pretty proactive with working with the Sheriff's Department. But if we lose the school gyms, we lose the basketball program. So it is imperative for us as a parish to continue to make sure that parents and coaches understand that they are using the gyms, not the campuses, not the facilities, just the gyms, and really try to police that. If we lose our school gyms, we lose our basketball program. And it is our most attended program with almost 1,500 players.
Ms. Cheryl, go ahead.
I just wanted to make this statement too, since that's a concern about the school property and stuff like that, that we might need to have a park attendant at those games as well. I mean, that might be something that we have to look into. You know, when you've got people out there representing, you know, that AYBA and ABA are representing the parish, that and they're we're getting these things connected. We're all connected. So we need to
basketball,
make sure.
yeah, the basketball gyms, we only use them on Saturdays.
Right.
So that is something. Yeah, we could look into that. That wouldn't be a problem at all. It's probably
somebody
a great
that
idea.
can make sure that kids are not sliding down poles and doing things
and
that they're not.
with regard to attendance, nobody that works for Ascension Parish is ever told that they can just stand around and do nothing. Ronnie has been very upfront with us. I know that might be what you're hearing, but no one in my department and no one from the administration has ever told anybody who works for the taxpayers to stand around and do nothing.
Okay, we have two gentlemen that want to speak on this here. Mr. Adam Best.
How are y'all doing?
All right. And your name is Adam?
Brandon Bennett.
All right.
Yes, sir.
All right.
And I just wanted to come up and just talk, and I just want to show y'all the support that we can get. All my people and fellow skateboarders, you know, just I've met actually a good bit of them I met over at the in front of the Albertsons, or the old Sava Center, the little ditch in the front. A lot of them been skateboarding over there, and I've ran into them over there. But and one thing I wanted to mention too is like with the baseball. I mean, I'm all for baseball. I actually umpired this year as a Ascension Parish baseball, you know, umpire, and like I've had so many little kids come up to me as I was out on the field going, "Hey, you skateboard? Oh, that's so cool. Oh, I have a skateboard. I have this skateboard and that skateboard." And I had so many of them approach me. Actually, a couple of them on your team, actually. And one little man for the athletics, he told me his board and his shoes every time I saw him. He wanted to tell me what he had, and he would follow me around. And he's like, "I got this and I got that." And it's just, even with baseball, they still skateboarding. I mean, it's huge now. So
Thank you.
And I met a lot of interesting little guys.
My name is Adam Best. Building a park in our area would encourage many of the youth to occupy themselves outside with something. not everyone gets involved in high school sports. I was one of those people. I'm not too into team sports, and unlike team sports, skateboarding is something that someone could do at any time during the day without waiting for practice or anything like that. And though team sports teach discipline by forcing people to work together and whatnot, skating teaches me personally, I find, a self-discipline, overcoming things that I find difficult. And just like any other sports, you learn progress through practice. Any kind of exercise is beneficial, no matter what the sport is. And
it's getting very large. I mean, it's just the age group from 8 years old to, I go to the Hammond skate park a lot, and they had this one guy out there. He was, I think, in his 40s, and I mean, he was skating all over that park, and it was fun just to sit back and actually watch him. He was really, really good at it. I mean, just help us get a skate park. Let's get something to skate on. I'm tired of bugging everybody for it. Just, build us something. They're gonna come. People are gonna come from all around. When we skated at Piccadilly, the old little fruit stand, and all the people we skated there for about 6 to 8 months with no problems whatsoever. And we had people coming from Hammond, Baton Rouge, New Orleans, just to come skate that little piece of cement that we took and put some pieces of scrap wood together and built us some stuff to skate on. And we met a lot of people and coming from all around just to skateboard on that. I mean, what do y'all think they're going to do if we get us a huge skate plaza with stair sets and ledges and stuff like that? They're going to come from all around.
And having a diverse array of people in one area that share the same interests would encourage people to work together, help each other learn different things,
So just,
all right. Well, gentlemen, we're working. As you can see, we'll keep it on the agenda. We're working on it, and it's all about funding. And we got to figure out a mechanism to get you the funding.
Handshakes or something.
Thank you all, gentlemen, very much. Appreciate it.
So that pretty much concludes about skate plazas. There are a lot of people out there who have called and have committed to helping fundraise. I just think, and you just hit on the key, a lot of it is funding. When we have our budget process that will begin in July, I will be under certain guidelines to follow, but I will dream big.
That's
so
what you have to do.
hopefully, it is about funding. Thank you for listening to the skateboard people. They have been really a joy to work with. They bring me lots of research. If you look out there, again, it is exploding. And the nice thing about a skate plaza is it can be utilized by unicycles and that type of thing, too. We would really like to put a BMX bike track. I don't know if you made it out to Lamar-Dixon for that huge event, but it was very successful. That's another exploding sport, bicycles. And there's very little opportunity to ride your bicycle in Ascension Parish.
Watch out. And I just want to thank everyone that came out on the skate park. We appreciate y'all coming out, and we can show you that's the young of in Ascension Parish coming out to support something that they really desperately need in this parish, and we will do everything we can to make that happen this year.
I'll ditto that. I just wanted to make one reference. We did receive a letter from the president of the ABA Baseball League, Mr. Brad Thompson, and he had requested that I read it tonight, but I think Mr. Bordelon took care of everything that he said in his letter, and I just want to make mention that I did get it and recognize his participation in all that took place tonight. Thank you.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. You got from second. All in favor of the motion to adjourn, say aye.
Aye.
Adjourn.